Have you ever heard a G8X M3 or M4 cold start with probably an aftermarket mid-pipe or downpipe? It probably sounded something like this. But you probably expected it to sound more like this. And all of that is really just due to how the exhaust was designed from factory, honestly, coupled with the exhaust valves that are in the rear section of these cars. When you add a mid-pipe or downpipe or change any part of the exhaust that's not stock, it changes the airflow characteristics that flows through the pipes. And when it hits the valves and passes through, it causes a really bad rattle sound, which you heard in the previous clip. So the way to change the sound of any car exhaust is to either change the length of a pipe or shorten any given pipe section, or to add one or a series of resonators. So the truth is, this is how these cars sound from factory, honestly. And the reason is obviously in part due to how the exhaust was designed from BMW's factory, and also the exhaust valves. A lot of modern cars these days have valves in the exhaust which kind of modulate open and close to allow more sound or airflow. In this case, there's two for the G8X cars, one on each side, and they don't ever open all the way. They kind of modulate closed. So on cold start, you have a lot more airflow coming through, and when it's stock exhaust, there's no issues. But when you put a mid pipe on it or a down pipe or both, you're altering the characteristics of the airflow like any exhaust when you change it. So it allows more airflow, faster airflow, whatever the case may be. And when it passes over these valves, it causes that really annoying rattle sound, which you just heard a minute ago, or you've probably seen it in person. And the truth is, that's just how it is. But, so when the car's stock, no issues. If you put an exhaust valve controller, like I did on my car from Daler, and you open and close, no problem. The moment you change a mid-pipe, downpipe, or both, stock rear section with valves or any valved rear section, you're going to have that airflow passing through, and it's going to change, again, it's going to change the characteristics of that airflow passing over the valves and cause that really annoying rattle at startup, or as people call it, the 2K rasp, whatever it is. And that's just how it is. So how do you fix that? Yeah, good question. So you can just straight pipe the whole car, right? Super loud, airflow passes all the way through the car uninterrupted by any valves, and that fixes the problem. But then you have an extremely loud car with no valves, straight piped all the time. And if that's your vibe, cool, man. But for me, in a neighborhood, I like having the valves open and closed. So it's kind of, with this car, it's interesting because you want to have the valves, and there's a lot of really good valved exhaust out there, but having that annoying cold start, you know, some people might say it's a small problem, but when you're at a meet or in the morning, or you show someone your car, and any point in time that it's set for a few minutes and the cold start, you know, procedure initiates, it just sounds terrible. You know, like, and you can tune it, right? You can tune a car, take out cold start. Sure, you can do that. You can straight pipe it, no problem. But the thing is if you want to have the best of both worlds, you need to be aware of this. And from the time of filming this video, I think Active Auto Work just came out with a Gen 2 mid-pipe for these G8X cars, and they claim that they have fixed the 2K rasp issue for cold starts with these cars. I've not heard one in person. I'm not sponsored by Active Auto Work, but I do love their products. I support their whole team and what they do. They make really good stuff. So if that's the case, then this may be a solution that I may have to look into just to kind of mitigate that issue. But the problem is, no one else has offered that from my understanding as of now, and this is something that you know, I didn't know when I first got this car, and didn't really hear much about it, because you hear about how good these exhausts are, and they are really good. I mean, the exhaust sounds amazing with the PSI mid pipe and the rear section open. It sounds amazing when driving, but this one thing of cold start, it's just something that you want to keep in mind if you're looking to buy a car like this. Does it have an exhaust already on it, or if it's stock, how do you want to set it up? This is something you want to keep in mind, because I wish I knew when I first got the car. When I was going through the process of setting things up, I may have, you know, done some things different. And yeah, I think these cars do sound amazing. You know, personally, I've said it before, I think a properly tuned and set up exhaust system on a B58 sounds a little better for whatever reason. But the S58, if set up properly, does sound really good. In my opinion, this car sounds great. And this is not me hating on those, because I love this exhaust setup and I love the car, but I just wanted to point out the cold start setup, that it's kind of been a you just live with it type of thing. But it seems like there's some companies that are developing some solutions for that, like the Active Auto Work Gen 2 mid pipe. So just something to keep in mind. But to recap, like from my experience, stock, no issue. Just the valve controller, no issue. But mid pipe, down pipe, you're going to experience that with anything that is a valved rear section and anything in front of that. So mid pipe, and for me, down pipe just amplifies whatever you have. It's going to be louder, so I imagine the rattle would be twice as bad. So, and this car does not have a down pipe yet. It's stock down pipes now. I will be tuning it this year, and I'm doing the down pipes, unlocking all that at the same time. So we'll see how that goes. But again, for now, this is my setup, and I might be looking at something else in the future. But the car sounds amazing. This is not me hating on it, but it is a super annoying just issue with these cars, these models, and I wish I had known in the beginning so that I could have planned my path a little bit different. So hope this helps you guys, and again, thank you for watching. I appreciate the support, and keep driving your legacy every day.